Hello everyone. Bangladesh Finance presents Next Gen Leaders Job Readiness Summit 2021 in association with Nestle, Milo, Nesca, Maggie, Superstar Group and the Business Standard. আমাদের সাথে আছে strategic partners Citigroup, Hangrina, Basis, YOLO and Career Replica Limited. Our gift partner Biz Solutions, knowledge partner Rakumari.com and Think Ahead. Our university partner United International University, radio partner Radio Amar FM 88.4, our platinum partner Quest Educare. You all know that this year's summit is আমাদের out of 9 days industry experts on various issues and various industries. Like today we are talking about the garment textile industry. On 9th day আপনাদের জন্য আমরা আয়োজন করেছি জব ফেয়ার at United International University তে সারা দিন ব্যাপী সেখানে আপনাদের করছে 40টির বেশি কোম্পানি and there are several hundred jobs are opened for you and we are waiting on 9th December to see at UIU. So আজকে আমরা কথা বলছি রেডিমেড গার্মেন্ট অ্যান্ড টেক্সটাইল ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে জব অপরচুনিটিজ এবং ক্যারিয়ার নিয়ে সেখানে আমরা নিজেদেরকে কিভাবে কি করতে পারবো। আজকে যারা শুনছি তারা হয়তো আগামী দিনে they will be the leader of the industry. So for you coming up in this session, apparel industry next year destination, to talk about this subject, we have invited two distinguished guests, seasoned professional, those tons of each individually having experience working into this and leading an organization, transforming an organization and successfully maneuvering this as well into difficult times. So let me introduce guest sitting left of mine, Mr. Shahriar Bar, who is Executive Director, the Retail Division of 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐢 Textile. We all know a very brand called YOLO. So ladies and gentlemen, let me to Shahriar Barne. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's my pleasure to have you and bringing you and listening you here, right? In my right hand side, আপনারা অনেকেই জানেন দেখেছেন আমাদের সাথে আগেও এসেছেন এবং very thorough gentleman and of course aka Mahmudul Haq. He's working basically in Contour Brands, Lee Wrangler Asia Human Resources Manager, South Asia and Africa. So please help me welcome Mahmudul Haq Tajbhai with us today.
Nice to meet you.
Different and looking sharp. Thank you. So gentlemen, আমরা কথা বলছিলাম basically our topic is apparel industry, your next career destination. আজকে যারা তারা সবাই তরুণ, majority of them they are university students, maybe first year, second year, third year, maybe they are graduating. So how they can prepare themselves for this apparel, why they should, right, as their next career destination. So our job is actually allure them. Also our job is to help them, guide them. So I want to ask the question to you.
Okay.
Like you are leading a division of 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐢, right, apparel division, 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐢 Apparels Limited, a YOLO. So who has created a benchmark in terms of the clothing brands maybe in Bangladesh. So let's talk about it. Your industry, the prospect, the opportunities, and why they should come to this.
Come to my industry.
Right.
Well, I work for 𝐵𝐶𝐸𝐿 Textile. 𝐵𝐶𝐸𝐿 has many divisions, as you know. They have textile, they have energy for LPG, they have pharmaceuticals, they have Akash DTH, which is a satellite TV. But I work in textile, so that's all I know. I'll only talk about textile. Textile has two areas at 𝐵𝐶𝐸𝐿. One is the export side. It's very big. Like to huge customers like Inditex, like PPH in the US, like CNA, Marks and Spencer, and many others. So that's one area of growth. The other area, which people don't realize, is local brands. That's local brands because as Bangladesh becomes a more prosperous country and as it becomes, the local economy will need more and more people to work in it. because actually in many ways working in the local economy is better than working on the export side. As the better, it's more profitable as a company, and it's more interesting in many ways. Anyway, let me just give you a very quick summary. In both areas, we need the same kinds of people. We look for the same people. We need people who know textile, who know garments. So that's people, especially that particularly comes down to merchandisers. That's the first area that everybody looks for. Merchandisers are people who talk to in Europe or the US. They're very good in terms of they do costings. They know fabrics. They know patterns. They're basically people who guide the whole process of getting an order and fulfilling it. Then you have other people as well. On yellow, are not so common on export, would be fashion designers. Fashion designers is a big area for us because we design own clothes and sell them here ourselves. So there's no buyers from Europe or US doing that work for us. On the export side, there might be designers, but the designers work for designers in the US. So the job there is more limited. But at Yellow, the fashion designers are completely responsible, make the designs, and for the success or failure of those designs in the market. So it's a very job. And along with fashion designers, there's all the downstream people that go with that, experts, the guys who got garments, woven garments, knit garments, the people who have a lot of technical expertise as well. And then for Yellow, we also look for, right now for marketing, we're talking about digital marketing primarily. So people who understand how you sell yourself on Instagram, on Facebook, on other digital platforms, on strategy. What else do we look for? Besides that, obviously you need people in like finance, for doing all the accounting and P&L and so on. And you need people in logistics, distribution, who actually work in our physical stores and sell the actual garments. So that's a quick overview of the kind of people we're looking for. I would encourage everybody to not just consider the export side, but also you look at local industry, because if you look at countries like India, already brands like Mindra, Saisa, and local brands have done tremendously well. They're very successful, and the same thing is happening in Bangladesh. You can see all kinds of people are starting up their own little brands on Facebook, or they're selling it, through small Instagram, and they're having good success. So the whole way of doing stuff, working for a big company is necessary. You can do your things yourself. You can have your own business, and that's probably going into the future.
Thank you. That's a very good overview. Thank you. Coming back to you, and Taj Bhai, so you are actually mentors in two different continents, right? So South Asia and Africa, two different continents, and for the garment and apparel industry. So under your jurisdiction, right, industry in Bangladesh. So as we are approaching towards the 50 billion mark that everybody talking about, right? The graduating from here to, and yet do we have enough resources? Do we have enough skill resources? So your point of view as an HR expert and leader of the industry.
Oh yeah, so that's really we have a great target like 50 billion USD to be hit and soon. But the big question is that are we ready for that?
Right.
So
that's why we need the career.
Correct. So all listeners, students, who you are, we need you to reach there. We all need you, and industry is waiting for you. So আমি মাঝে মাঝে বাংলায় বলি, it will be well connected. So আমাদের যারা স্টুডেন্টরা ক্যারিয়ার গ্রাজুয়েশন শেষ করার পরে আমি জানি না apparel industry. So it is a big question.
Can I have them? Can I ask this question? যারা এখন শুনছে, আপনাদের first choice কার apparel industry? Please type A for apparel.
Great idea to connect them. So এটা একটা বড় প্রশ্ন যে কতজনের ফার্স্ট চয়েস অ্যাপারেল ইন্ডাস্ট্রি। সো আমাদের আপনাদের সাথে আরো দুটো ব্যাক টু ব্যাক সেশন হয়েছে এবং অনেকগুলো ইনফরমেশন আপনারা পেয়েছেন যে কি ধরনের এনভায়রনমেন্ট, কি ধরনের কাজ ওখানে করতে হয়। আমি যেটা ফোকাস করতে চাই, যারা আপনারা অ্যাপারেল ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে ফোকাস করতে চাচ্ছেন, আপনাদের ক্যারিয়ার ডেভেলপ করতে চাচ্ছেন তৈরি, আপনাদের শুধু অভাব হচ্ছে আপনাদের high potential people are really needed for this industry to reach this 50 billion USD target. We are not too far, but yet to push back. So আমাদের এখান থেকে নেক্সট লেভেলে নিয়ে যেতে হলে আমাদের হাই পটেনশিয়াল পিপল দরকার। আমাদের যারা স্টুডেন্টরা আমাদের আছেন, আপনাদেরকে বলবো যে আপনারা যদি টেকনিক্যাল স্কিলের পাশাপাশি, আমরা জানি যে আমাদের অনেক টেকনিক্যাল স্কিল নিয়ে ইদানিং অনেক পড়াশোনা হচ্ছে, ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার নিয়ে কাজ হচ্ছে, তারপরে যারা মার্চেন্ডাইজিং এর অনেক জায়গাতে পড়াশোনা হচ্ছে। বাট যারা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে পড়াশোনা করছেন, আপনারা যারা বের হচ্ছেন, আপনাদের যে জিনিসটা ফোকাস করতে হবে সেটা হচ্ছে কম্পিটেন্সি। আমার ফেভারিট টপিক, যেটা আমি সবসময় বলতে চাই যে আপনার সফট স্কিলকেও আপনি অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম আপনাকে ফোকাস করতে হবে। সো সেই জিনিসটারই যেটা অভাব আমাদের ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে, টু রিচ আপ টু 50 বিলিয়ন USD অ্যাট দিস মোমেন্ট। সো আমাদের আপনাদেরকে দরকার, এবং আমাদের আপনাদের স্কিলটাকে দরকার এবং কম্পিটেন্সিটাকে দরকার। এই 50 বিলিয়ন ইন্ডাস্ট্রি আমরা বলতে যেন পারি এবং সেটা থেকে আমরা খুব বেশি দূরে নই। সো শুধুমাত্র আপনাদেরকে এখানে ফোকাস করতে হবে। আপনাদেরকে এখানে এই যে আমাদের অ্যাপারেল ইন্ডাস্ট্রি, যেটা সবচেয়ে বড় একটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রি, যেখানে 2.5 মিলিয়ন পিপলস আর ওয়ার্কিং। সো এত বড় একটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে আপনারা আপনাদের কানেক্টেড না হওয়ার কোনো কারণ দেখি না। সো আপনাদেরকে চাই এবং আমরা আপনাদেরকে নিয়ে সামনে 50 বিলিয়ন USD তে রিচ করতে চাই।
অ্যাবসলিউটলি, আপনারা শুনতেই পাচ্ছেন একজন মানুষ, তার রিসোর্স ডেভেলপ এক্সপার্ট, যিনি বাংলাদেশ সহ সাউথ এশিয়ার অন্যান্য দেশ সহ আফ্রিকার কিছু দেশ এবং একটা লার্জার কান্ট্রিজ অফ এ কন্টিনেন্ট উনি লুকিং আফটার করছেন। যখন আপনারা ওনার কাছে বুঝতেই পারছেন আসলে আমাদের কিন্তু একটা ডায়ার নিড আছে, স্কিল রিসোর্সেস আছে।
অ্যাবসলিউটলি এটা খুব বেশি মাত্রায় আমাদের এই নিডটা আছে। এবং আপনারা দেখেছেন অনেক সময় যে আমাদের দেশে প্রচুর বিদেশি কাজ করেন, এটা উপায়ন্ত না দেখেই ইন্ডাস্ট্রি নিড টু রান, এবং ওনাদের আমাদের নিড ইউ অ্যাজ এ সাকসেসর। কারা ইন্ডাস্ট্রি রান করবে, ওনারা তো বেশি দিন থাকবেন না আমাদের।
রাইট,
তাহলে আমাদের আপনাদেরকে দরকার।
রাইট, অ্যাবসলিউটলি। সো টু মাই লেফট there is another, expat is working as an expert, right? So both is expat and expert, right? So Mr. Shahriar, so what do you see in Bangladesh, the talents you recruit that you see? I mean, what's the gap that you observe, right? That we need to fill it up, right? We are having a lot of expats, right? But in future, going towards $50 billion marks, right? So what really missing into this pie?
I've been working and I've done a lot of recruiting, and all the best universities, like the one who sponsored UIU, which is one of my favorite universities, but also all the other ones like BRAC, like AIU, like North South, and obviously IBA. So I found, my experience in terms of recruiting in Bangladesh. Also, let me not forget BUF, Korean Professional Designers.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Your favorite one probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I would say that my experience has been that the people in Bangladesh, the students who come out of Bangladesh, the good ones are really good. It's very smart, really excellent abilities, and they just join on. You can tell them in 5 minutes that these guys are really good. But I find, like even at the best universities, there's some students who are not really that good. So that's different than other. I've worked a lot in the US. Over there, if you go to university, everybody's, some are slightly better, some are slightly worse. but less variation.
Right.
Yeah. Over here you see a lot of variation. So there's no guarantee that if you go and interview somebody at the best universities, that you'll really get a good person. You have to spend a little bit more time to actually dig deeper over here. So that's one thing. But in terms of the people that you're getting who are succeeding, my advice to you would be that, let's say you're a merchandiser, right? Anybody can be a merchandiser. You go there, you do some cost emails, but those are not the people who really succeed in the market in the long run. The guys who do really well, they work a little bit harder and they really do it. Like, for instance, I'll give you some examples. The people who make it senior are the guys who, when you look at, then you give them a costing and you say, my target price, buyer doesn't want to accept it. They're very creative in terms of change this. Maybe if I use a cheaper fabric, maybe if I change the pattern a little bit to save some fabric, or maybe if I use the number of buttons. They're creative. They can solve the problem. Now, if a guy's not so good, he's like, this is the costing. What can I do? Those guys are not gonna
close, dead-ended.
Right? You have to have the creativity. Now, that answer is not in the book, right? You can't read in the textbook. You have to have imagination and the extra effort to make it there. Now, I'll tell you something really good. Okay. Now, these are people who they look at before the order starts. They know, look, this garment, I can imagine that it might have these problems in the factory. So let me go and already before the factory starts, go to the factory manager and say, look, I don't want these to happen. Or I'll tell the buyer that, this garment that you're ordering in this way it's a little bit dangerous. The wash might have these problems and so on. Proactive. Before the problem happens, they've already thought about it. They've discussed with the buyer. They've discussed with the factory manager. So then when the problem happens, the buyer's like, well, I already know. I know this. It's not a surprise. It's not a bad surprise. So that extra energy, that extra effort, the extra creativity, that's what people are looking for. Those are the guys who are really going to succeed. I'll tell you, the leaders in Bangladesh in merchandising, the future is unlimited. You see these guys, they're working for amazing companies. They get transferred to Hong Kong, New York, whatever. They start their own company, 5 years, 10 years, you see them driving around in big cars. Multi-billionaires. This is the time to succeed in Bangladesh. It's the right place to be right now. This is the right time and the right place. It's just up to you. Put in the effort, energy, and you're going to do well.
Absolutely.
So I want to catch from that point. I wanted to say that you guys need to prepare the competency side. What you are hearing from a business leader, that what his expectation is like, is a right, how you are going to do it. It's not that you don't know the costing. It's not that you don't know the product. You know the product. You are touching the product. You know the costing, but you stuck some point of time, right? So that's what the how part. So আপনাদেরকে বলছি যে ওনারা কি চাচ্ছেন, বিজনেস আপনার কাছে সেই স্কিলটা আছে, কিন্তু আপনাকে যেটা করতে হবে, আপনাকে সেটা এই বিহেভিয়ার, কম্পিটেন্সি বিহেভিয়ারটা এখনই করতে হবে। So not that affection and then start learning competencies or practice competencies. It's a practice time, but you need to know the basic when you are doing your graduation. এর সময় আপনাকে সেটাকে শিখে ফেলতে হবে। আপনি একজন মার্কেটার, আপনি অ্যাকাউন্টিং পড়াশোনা করছেন, আপনি হয়তো বা হিউম্যান রিসোর্স নিয়ে পড়াশোনা করছেন, আপনি ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, অ্যাবসলিউটলি ফাইন, বাট আপনাকে কিন্তু অবশ্যই কম্পিটেন্সি নিয়ে পড়াশোনা করতে হবে, যেটা হয়তো আমাদের ইউনিভার্সিটি কারিকুলামে নাই, বাট আপনাকে সেটা ওই এক্সট্রা এফোর্ট, এই যে এক্সট্রাটাই হচ্ছে আপনাকে তখন এই প্রোয়াক্টিভনেসের কথা উনি বললেন, রাইট? যেটা বললেন যে স্টাক হয়ে যাওয়া থেকে, দিস আর হাউ পার্ট। সো ওই জায়গাটাতে ইটস এ মিসিং অপরচুনিটি। দিস ইজ হোয়াট উই আর রিয়েলি মিসিং from a university graduates. It's really important.
Just a supplementary question on the competency framework. So somebody equally competent, right? If you choose over this industry, the career in the apparel industry, so both of you do think that a talent, you're talking about the potential talent, right? They can grow fast in comparison to other industries in the apparel industry. What would be your views?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, see, the talent, a high potential people has a great learning agility, right? So, I mean, maybe you are working in a another industry initially. It doesn't mean that you cannot come, you
Right.
cannot switch.
Right.
Or I mean, for a student, or maybe don't know too much on the apparel, because maybe people don't have too much information about the apparel industry. That's why they don't focus on how many of them has responded in your quiz.
Right.
On the apparel,
people,
apparel
yeah.
side. But that's a missing part. So if your aspiration is not, but it doesn't mean you cannot move. You need to, what you need to do is, you need to increase your potentiality. You need to first spot it out, then work on the readiness.
Right.
So when you are ready, you are open.
Right.
এবং আপনাকে এখানেই দরকার, উনি যেটা বললেন, in a 5 years, 7 years, 10 years time, people are flying, right?
Right. Yep.
Trust their potential in many ways.
Correct. So on that note, Mr. Shahriar, so you worked with Boeing, as I know, and also Merrill Lynch, right?
Right.
And then coming back to apparel industry, what really did you actually to leave that, that realm of the industry in US and leaving Boeing and also the Merrill Lynch and those framework, and then coming and working for the industry? Because that might be another incentivized things hearing from you.
Well, I'll tell you the story. It's sort of, it's not like I made a conscious decision. This might be a successful play. I was sort of more lucky. I'll put it this way, that I got a chance to come here. I got a job offer from 𝐀𝐻-𝐸𝐴. I didn't really know. To be honest with you, I was a little bit afraid of Bangladesh. I didn't think, it didn't have the best image. And when I came here, it's been a very good move for me, to be very honest, because the country has really taken off compared to the last 10 years. So I'm very happy I made the move. So it's really, for me, it was more a matter of being lucky coming here. That's why I still say that this country right now is the right place if you want to be successful, if you have the right ingredients to be successful, if you want to work hard, then there's no better place than Bangladesh, because it's going, the future is very bright. People who have that little extra energy in themselves, the opportunity is great over here. Now, just to answer your other, is this industry versus other industries?
Right.
I find that people, the best stars, they have a choice, right? They can work in many different places, and all the companies want them. So there's plenty of multinationals here. A lot of people want to work for you, like Unilever. There's like Grameenphone, British American Tobacco. There's all the banks. There's all kinds of stuff. So, and those are good jobs, and you can have a great career, and those are good for many people, right? But I find that in terms of really big success, if you work for Unilever, you're not really going to be a million, right? I mean, we might, but it's very unlikely.
Right.
Because you probably just go up and you have a good job and you get promotions. People who are a little bit more self-motivated, people who really are a little, who can say, in a few years I want to start up my own company, they should come here, because the potential in this is higher, more unlimited. The sectors are bigger, because this country right now is going through a huge wave of expansion in this area. Like you said, $50 billion to go and earn that. Somebody's going to get a share of that, the guy who does that. So that will not happen if you work for a bank, I guarantee you. So that's
that
what I
has
think
been kind of saturated in, almost reaching to the, with this coming to you, talking about the competences, right? The framework. So what are the skill set that is actually necessary for the high potential or the high flying, graduates or the graduates? If you can talk about this.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So first of all, what is potential? Right? So আমরা জানি potential, আমরা বলতে শুনি potential customer, right?
Right.
Future. That means something for future. So আমি যদি আমার আমাকে বা কোনো নিজেকে পটেনশিয়াল করতে চান, সো আপনার বুঝতে হবে যে আপনার ভবিষ্যতে আপনি খুব ভালো একজন দক্ষ কেউ, কিন্তু সেটার জন্য আপনাকে জানতে হবে আপনাকে কি কি ক্রাইটেরিয়া, এখন আপনি কি আসলেও পটেনশিয়াল কিনা। সো few items you need to understand, few points. So for example, you need to understand whether you have a learn, right? Do you have that hungriness to learn, right? Do you really how you learn? So a learning agility, we all learn, but how many of us having learning agility? That's a big question. So learning agility, first you need to understand that. Second thing is drive, right? You need to understand, are you really a driving person? Like you need to be go-getter, right? So do you really a driving person? Can you drive yourself? So that is drive is second thing you need to understand. If you you need to identify your propensity to lead, right? Can you lead, right? Can you lead yourself first? That is a big thing, before you lead somebody else. So this is third thing that you need to understand. And fourthly, I want to emphasize is aptitude for logic and reasoning. So how analytical person you are, right?
Critical thinking.
How can you think? How can you put your logic and reason? How you use data? How you can present them? How you can put alternatives and pick the one, maybe third of choose instead of A and B, and you have a reason for that, and you can sell it out that, hey guys, this is why I'm choosing option 3, not A and B. So you need to understand that. So these 4 things, if you have, then you can think that you are a potential person. You are a high potential person.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you yes, I have something.
Right.
So now I need to move on. Right?
Right.
What is next? I should not be sitting here. So it doesn't matter you are in the first semester or 12th semester. This potential something within you, right? You need to spot them out and then work it out toward the readiness,
Right?
And then move forward. And that is, then it will come. It doesn't matter where you are. Maybe you can discover yourself an entrepreneur before you graduate.
Right.
That is what I'm saying, that potentiality.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of us, আমরা যেটা বলি অনেক সময় যে আসলে the traditional industry, like we don't have the chance to create, like for an instance, like banking industry, very highly regulated industry,
Right?
You can't go left and right. The other industries also, tobacco, highly regulated, you don't have the left and right. Let's talk about the opportunities for the creative thinker as you're coming, because you are in a better position to compare the other industry for the people who are creative, who wants to create.
Right. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I think for people who want to be creative, this is the right industry for many of them. And the main reason is, let's say you want to be a fashion designer. All right, if you want to be a fashion designer, then obviously, especially if you work for a local brand, then all it is understanding global trends, understanding people's tastes, understanding what's going to do well in the market, and making something new that will address that. So that's very, very creative. But let's not limit ourselves to that, right? There's a lot more areas of creativity that are really happening right now in this industry. The one I mentioned before is starting own brands, right? Just out of their house, they have their own little studio. They have some people do a little bit of sewing, and they make videos, put it on Instagram. What they do is they just buy things from outside. You've heard of these influencers in market. We use them now. Everybody's influencers and their marketing.
Right.
And we work with Amazon in the US in an influencer. So those guys are huge. I mean, they make a lot of money, and all they do is make videos. But the videos are very creative, very interesting, a lot of fun. I could not make those videos for sure. So these guys have a certain talent, right? There's something that a normal person doesn't have. That little bit of creativity, a little bit of energy, a little bit of that other people don't see. And then they just, from their house, on their phone, they do it, and they become very successful. Now, the really important one, though, for me, in terms of creativity, is a chance to work in the market and make success yourself by understanding what the market wants in Bangladesh, where the market is going. So people who work at Yellow, like I mentioned before, nobody tells us what is going to do in the market, what's going to do well. Like, we're not, Marks and Spencer's not calling up and say, oh yeah, make a blue dress, right? We decide. A team decides what we're going to do in the future, what category, what products, what styles, what colors, what fits ourselves. We decide. We take the risk, and we succeed or fail ourselves.
So you are the storm, kind of, right, for the market.
Yeah, it's a nice situation, right, for us and for all the brands and for all the other people who are working in this industry. They have to learn what the market wants themselves. So that really happens across this industry. And that's if you work in a bank, again, you can't go to the CEO and say, look, I want to just do something completed, they have plans. It's very limited in what you can do. So it's not for everybody. Many people are, let's not say, many people are happy there, many people fit in well there.
Absolutely.
But a little bit more, who want more freedom, who want for them, that's not the right area to go in. Our industry will give them a lot more opportunities, and in both export and the export, because that's where you learn. You work there, you learn how to do costings, how to do fabrics, how to make fits. Well, then you can do a lot of other things. You can have your own factory for export. You can have your own local brand. You can work for some international brand. Very wide. If you're good at it, if you learn, if you understand this business.
Brilliant. We're coming back to you after a quiz. We'll be talking about local and global career opportunities into the apparel industry, because I believe that our talent has, as we're talking about the potentiality, that where you can grow from here to there, right after the quiz. So let's have a quiz, and it's very easy for you. And choice: alphabets A, B, or C, or D. Fresh fibers that form the flesh of art. Is it leather, cotton, or nylon? I don't know. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, so option is yours: A, B, C, or D. Just type it quickly, either E, and win the prizes. And definitely, the time is very limited. The one who responds faster, you have more probability. I believe you'll be responding it very, very quick, typing A. So I don't know whether it's correct or not. Maybe or maybe not. Let's see. The quick commercials, which is, as we are doing Next Gen Leaders Job Readiness Summit in association with Nestle, Milo, Nescafe, Superstar Group, and the business. So let's have a commercial break. Don't go away. So we're talking about international career.
হ্যাঁ মা
আচ্ছা,
এটা রাখ তুমি রাখ
খুব খিদে পেয়েছে, কিছু একটা করে দিবে?
দাঁড়াও দিচ্ছি।
দেরি করো না কিন্তু।
একটু ফ্রেশ হয়ে নেই।
কিছু একটা করি এখনই। ব্রকলিটা দে তো। হয়েছে মা, দেখো তো তোমার মতো হয়েছে কিনা।
হ্যাঁ, খুশি করা শুধু 2 মিনিটের ব্যাপার। ম্যাগি খুশির রেসিপি। নেসলে, গুড ফুড, গুড লাইফ।
Future, retire, pension,
বাই বাই।
আমার নেই পেনশনের টেনশন, আছে সুখ স্বাচ্ছন্দ্যে অবসরকালীন নিশ্চিন্ত নির্ভর জীবনের নিশ্চয়তা।
অবসরকালীন নিশ্চিন্ত, নির্ভর এবং আনন্দময় জীবনের জন্য বাংলাদেশ ফাইন্যান্স নিয়ে এলো বাংলাদেশ ফাইন্যান্স রিটায়ারমেন্ট প্ল্যান। মাত্র 10 বছরের সঞ্চয়ই নিশ্চিত হবে ইন্স্যুরেন্স সুবিধা সহ আজীবন পেনশন।
প্রতিটি বর্তমান এক একটি আগামী প্রতিচ্ছবি। উঁকি দিলেই দেখা যায় সম্ভাবনার সীমানা ছাড়িয়েছে কত দূর। স্বপ্ন ছোঁয়ার তীব্র ইচ্ছায় মন ছোটে নিরাপদ পথে গন্তব্যের ঠিকানায়। তাই তো বর্তমানকে সুন্দর করে নান্দনিক ডিজাইনে আমরা তৈরি করি সুরক্ষিত, নিরাপদ ও দীর্ঘস্থায়ী অ্যাক্সেসরিজ। সুপারস্টার ইলেকট্রিক্যাল অ্যাক্সেসরিজ, সম্ভাবনার আগামী।
All right, welcome back to Bangladesh Finance Presents Next Gen Leaders Job Readiness Summit. আমরা কথা বলছিলাম the career opportunities and the window of opportunities locally and internationally for the apparel industry. So coming back to Mr. Mahmoodul Haq, Taj bhai, so the potentials and the talents, how they can develop themselves locally and internationally into this industry.
ওকে, গুড। সো যারা স্টুডেন্ট আমাদেরকে শুনছেন আজকে, আপনাদেরকে বলতে চাই ইটস ভেরি সিম্পল, ইটস ভেরি ইজি। কারণ স্টুডেন্টদের অলরেডি দে আর লার্নিং অ্যাট দেয়ার ওন সাবজেক্ট ম্যাটার্স, রাইট, অ্যান্ড দে আর আফটার গ্রাজুয়েশন দে আর চ্যাম্পিয়ন এট দেয়ার ওন আসপেক্ট, রাইট। সো মিসিং হচ্ছে সফট স্কিল, কম্পিটেন্সিস। দ্যাট ইজ হোয়াট রিয়েলি নিডেড, আইদার ইউ ওয়ার্ক ইন লোকালি অর ইন্টারন্যাশনালি. So it doesn't matter where you work. You need another language to learn, and that is called soft skill. And that skill is unified. So আপনি যেখানেই যাবেন, আপনাকে জানতে হবে কিভাবে আপনি সেই কাজটা করবেন। আপনি একজন সেলস পারসন, আপনি মার্চেন্ডাইজার, আপনি কিভাবে মার্চেন, সেটা কিন্তু আপনার সেই কম্পিটেন্সি দিয়ে আপনি বের হয়ে আসতে পারবেন। কিন্তু কম্পিটেন্সি যদি না থাকে, তাহলে শুধু মার্চেন্ডাইজিং স্কিল দিয়ে আপনি খুব বেশি দূর আগাতে পারবেন না। আপনি যদি একজন টেকনিক্যাল পারসন হন, ফর এক্সাম্পল আপনি একজন ফিটিং পারসন, বা আপনি একজন ওয়াশ টেক, অথবা আপনি একজন ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার, রাইট, আপনার সেই টেকনিক্যাল স্কিল দিয়ে আপনি শুধু ওয়ার্ড পার্টটাই করতে পারবেন, মানে কি করতে হবে আপনাকে সেটাই করতে পারবেন। কিন্তু আপনাকে যদি গ্রো হতে হয়, আপনি যদি লিড করতে চান, আপনি যদি একজন সাকসেসফুল পারসন হতে চান আপনার ক্যারিয়ারে, আপনার ক্যারিয়ার অ্যাসপিরেশনে যদি আপনি রিচ করতে চান, দেন আপনাকে কিন্তু সফট স্কিল ছাড়া হবে না। আর কিভাবে হবে সেটা সফট স্কিলটা? আমি কেন বললাম খুবই সহজ, কারণ সফট স্কিল মানে হচ্ছে ইটস এ সাম সর্ট অফ অ্যাকশনস অর বিহেভিয়ার্স ফর পার্টিকুলার ইউ নিড টু অ্যাক্ট, রাইট? সো দ্যাট মিনস, ফর এক্সাম্পল কমিউনিকেশন। আমরা সবাই জানি কমিউনিকেশন কি। আপনি যদি রাস্তায় যদি যাকে দাঁড়িয়ে জিজ্ঞেস করবেন, ভাই আপনি কমিউনিকেশন জানেন, সে বলবে হ্যাঁ আমি অবশ্যই কমিউনিকেশন জানি, রাইট? কমিউনিকেশন কিন্তু আমরা কিভাবে জানি? বাই ডেফিনেশন, রাইট? সো বাই ডেফিনেশন, ইফ ইউ নো এনি সফট স্কিল অর কম্পিটেন্সিস, দ্যাটস নট এনাফ, দ্যাটস ভেরি অন সারফেস এরিয়া, রাইট? দেয়ার আর লেয়ার্স, ফার্স্ট লেয়ার, সেকেন্ড লেয়ার্স, সো ইউ নিড টু ডিপ ডাইভ into the beyond the definition and go and touch into the behaviors. So what is communication behaviors? You need to understand, to communicate, what behavior you need to demonstrate. That is what you need to understand, right? That is what you need to practice daily basis and apply. And this is why I'm telling it is very easy, because you are a student now. So it is a high time that you pick one behavior and apply it, right? And then you become master on it, and then pick second behavior, and then you apply, and then you master. Then you have two. Just imagine in a year, if you pick one competency and take 5 of its behavior, and in end of the year, one competency you are master, right? So how many years you are studying, right? I mean, first how many semesters? So end of the graduation, you are really ready with your subject matter expert and with the competencies. then offer your both to employee. You see the magic, right? And that is what.
Absolutely. You want to add anything in the communication part?
Absolutely right. Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you. So let's have some questions. So I thought, yeah, communication is actually the most important thing, because as I observe from the mid-level to senior level, this is the one thing actually that separates from others: to speak, to present, to convince, and eventually to negotiate the deal, right? They're the one who makes the best out of the industry, right? In everywhere. So the first question: what are the obstacles for starting apparel industry? Obstacles. Okay, so who wants to take it? What are the obstacles?
I can go. So good question, but to be very honest, there is no obstacle. Industry is waiting for the ready product, and ready means you need the both technical skill and soft skill. So subject matter expert and soft skills. If you are ready, no obstacles.
So the next qualities should have a textile engineering student as a fresher. What type of technical skills should have? Okay, the same thing. Technical skills and qualities. You can answer. Both of you can answer, right?
I'll address it and maybe you can
Sure,
address it.
please.
Yeah, from my, so like, I'm not the best person to answer this. I'm not a textile engineer, but in my the people who do well in this are people who don't just have that, but they go and they do internships or something, and they find a way to actually get real knowledge. Actually, textile engineering learn is in the actual factory with real experience. So it's a matter of getting into the factory and understanding the different kinds of fabrics, what happens in terms of what kind of problems you have in weaving them and processing and dyeing and washing. And there's lots and lots of problems. I mean, fabrics are not easy. Textile engineering is a very good job. And if everything is not perfect, then the fabric is going to have problems, and it's very expensive if the fabric has any issues. So it's a very key job. It's a very important, and it's to get good fabric is somebody needs very expertise, and you gain that expertise primarily, in my view, from working in the factory and being very interested and learning on the job. Now, obviously, you have to have a strong background from your universities, from your college. So you have to have a good, strong theoretical background. That's a good foundation. But do your internship or your first job, it's very important to like take an interest, learn from your mentors, ask people questions, and see what kind of issues and what kind of problems are coming up and what people do to address them. So it's really a matter of learning on the job.
Yeah, I want to add, absolutely, completely aligned. Just to add on it, টেক্সটাইল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার থেকে পড়াশোনা করছেন, আপনাদের তো থিওরিটিক্যাল নলেজ তো হচ্ছেই, 4 years is a huge, but at the same time, please, I mean, do something, apply করেন. You have alumni, lots of alumni are working in many factories or retailers, buying offices. Talk to them. কিভাবে এটা করে, এটার অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা কি, এই অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা ভালো করে শিখেন. আপনার থিওরিটিক্যালি আপনি ভালো করে করছেন, ল্যাবেও প্র্যাকটিস করছেন, বাট ওই জিনিসটাতে প্লিজ ওখানে একটু ফোকাস করেন, কিভাবে এটা অ্যাপ্লিকেশন হয়, অ্যাপ্লাই হয় কিভাবে, প্রবলেমগুলো কি কি. জ্বালান, প্রচুর জ্বালান, এলএম যারা আছে প্রচুর জ্বালান, নক করেন, তারা আসে কেন, তারা আপনাদেরকে যদি এটাকে গেট ব্যাক না করে, তারা কেন আছে, বড় ভাইরা কেন আছে, আপুরা কেন আছে, জ্বালান, ফোন দেন, উইকেন্ডে বিরক্ত করেন আপনার ওই, দেন আপনি যখন আসবেন, you will feel a heavyweight kind of experience in you.
Absolutely. Be passionate and hungry for it. Hungry. Exactly. If you are hungry, then probably you'll be knocking many times, not once. So what are the growing sections and departments in textile industry? It's open for both of you.
You start.
Okay, so what are the growing sectors?
Sections.
Department. আসলে সবগুলোই দরকার. All are important for a apparel industry because it's a process. Product will not complete without a process. So সব ডিপার্টমেন্ট ইকুয়ালি ইম্পর্টেন্ট কোয়ালিটি যেখানে আছে কোয়ালিটি ফিটিং ওয়াশটেক এই টেকনিক্যাল ডিপার্টমেন্টগুলি যেরকম প্রয়োজন মার্চেন্ডাইজিং প্রয়োজন আপনি সাকসেসফুল হতে পারেন যে কোনোটাতে যদি আপনি রিয়েলি keen হন and if you have that aspiration and if you are
I think Ms. Mark has already addressed the main one. So the only things I'll add would be some of the new ones that are coming up. Like I mentioned, I think that one thing that's coming up is on the fit side, more about you make samples and you put them on mannequins and see how the fit is. It's becoming more and more electronic. So use software to make the pattern, put the on and send that to the buyer. So that's a new one that's coming up. That will, I think, see a lot of growth in the future. Another one that people don't think much, but I think is very important, is fashion design again, which Bangladesh lags behind right now. So there's a lot of demand there, and Bangladesh can develop that. Then the other designers have to be in Italy or New York. A lot of that work can, and I think in the future will be done right here. The world is moving towards a one-stop package. It used to be that the people would say to Bangladesh and say, here, make this garment. That's gone, right? Now nobody wants to do that. Now in terms of, you decide what's going to sell to the companies in Bangladesh. You do the fit on it, you make it, and then you send it to us. The only thing they do is they look at the collection that is designed over here and they say, okay, I like this, so take this one and change these aspects for my market. So that's going to happen more and more. The whole value chain will be shifted to countries like Bangladesh, to Vietnam, and so on. So there's more and more, as the value chain gets over here, more and more money in the whole garment is going to be spent in Bangladesh and not in the West. But it's a kind of like a soft skill you mentioned, fashion design or trend analysis. That's very difficult. You can't read that in the book again. You have to know what's happening on the catwalks, what's trending, what are the new things that are happening all over the West. So you have to have that exposure, that awareness with the internet, with people, with all these things, with Snapchat and so on. People know what's happening globally. I think the world is becoming more integrated, especially for young people who are on what's happening trend-wise, and the same trends you see happen in South Korea, in Paris, or in Dhaka. So that's where the world is going. And that's where I see a lot of other ones that he mentioned, like wash tags and merchandise. That's very strong. That will continue to be very strong for many years.
So what competency you prefer? So I don't
take for
please.
that. So competency, see, if you are a fresher, then you are individual contributor, right? So যখন আপনি individual contributor, আপনার স্কিল সফট স্কিল দরকার বা কম্পিটেন্সি দরকার, আপনি there are lot plenties, right? বাট কিছু জিনিস আমি আপনাকে বলে দিতে পারি যেটা খুব সচরাচর সবাই দেখায়। Your decision making, your driving for result, then আপনার adaptability, collaboration. So these are for individual contributors. These are some common. But if you are Google, you will get plenty of them and start practicing.
Absolutely. So these are very easy. So what's your favorite company that you look forward, or the skills?
Some of the things that, in addition to what was mentioned already, we look for a little bit of passion, right? Especially because it's a fashion industry. We look for people who are naturally interested in fashion, who know what's happening, and who care about not what clothes they wear, their friends wear, what's happening, what the trend is. So it's just a passion for clothing, for apparel, for just a tendency towards that some people have.
So passion, right? And that's actually how passionate you are. Not right, because fake passion, you can't really hold it long time. So what are the future opportunities for an apparel industry job holder? Future opportunities. So future is
Yeah,
Of
future
course.
is really great for Bangladesh. We already have discussed in terms of both domestic market as well as international market. So opportunity is like the sky. Mr. Shahriar also that is booming like anything, which is really true. So it's a plenty of things. We need lot of people in this industry, lot of high potential people, a lot of ready people. So opportunity আপনারা মানে মানে ফোকাস করতে থাকেন এবং এখানে যত দ্রুত আপনি গ্রো করতে পারবেন আপনার আশারি হন। যদি আসলে আপনার পটেনশিয়ালিটি থাকে, যদি সফট স্কিল নিয়ে কাজ করে থাকেন, জব মার্কেটে আসেন, দেখবেন যে আপনি অন্যান্য ইন্ডাস্ট্রির চেয়ে খুব তাড়াতাড়ি ক্যারিয়ার অ্যাসপিরেশনে পৌঁছতে পারছেন। সো প্রচুর অপরচুনিটি।
Sure. I would just add to that I see there's kind of two steps, right? Step one, to enter the industry, whichever area you're in, merchandising, design, or technical, and you gain the skills and become and understand how it works and get good at it that you're doing. You have to be very good, otherwise, it's not going to. You're not going to progress. So if you work hard and you're smart and you have the talent, then the options after you, once you're in the industry, are very manifold. I'll give you a few examples of people I know who've done well in this industry. Some people, for instance, have started working in local factories and they've been promoted a few times, and then they've been recruited, let's say, by Zara to work in Spain, or by Lian Feng to work in Hong Kong, or work in Italy. And suddenly you're working in the world's biggest brand, Zara, so on. And so that's a great opportunity right there. That's one way to do it. Many other people, what they've done is they've started their own brands in Bangladesh. They've done well where. What other people have done is they've started their own garment industry, maybe a buying house, or some of them has actually started their own and started. I mean, obviously this takes time. It's not going to happen in 1 or 2 years. You have to work many years and build up some capital, get a lot of expertise. But eventually, if you're really good, you can actually start up your own factory, and that's how many people in Bangladesh who have big factories, that's how they started. So there's opportunities across the board, I would say.
Opportunities across the board, right? So once you begin, then you can see, right? Once you begin and once you start progressing, you'll do some more, right? Initially you might not see, but once you start walking, you see the next turn or next opportunities. So I think the last question we're waiting for, and then we have plenty of questions, but last question I want to take for today's session. What is the future of retail industry in Bangladesh since e-commerce is taking the lead in the world?
Yeah, I'll address. I think in Bangladesh, e-commerce has not grown as fast as it has in other places. There's different reasons for that. Big controversy with eValley and so on. So I don't want to get into that, but basically, standard e-commerce in Bangladesh has not done so well. What's really done well is, as I mentioned before, people doing their own thing and starting their own brands, or being influencers, or just making a name for themselves on TikTok or so on, and being creative and having their own ideas. So I think the future of retail industry, first of all, obviously, it's going to be Bangladesh is still a little bit behind the region, and that's going to change very quickly. It's changing right now. Years, retail industry in Bangladesh will become much more developed and much more organized. So right now, there's a lot of people who still go to like local market dealers, so on. That will kind of stop, and it'll become all big brands, big malls, and a much more organized way of retail. That's process is well underway, and it's not going to stop. Every year, 2 years, you'll see complete changes in every aspect of retail, not just apparel. But it's either you'll have very strong local brands or you'll have very strong international brands. That's it. Now, e-commerce has to come here, and there's a few companies like the Raz and so on doing well. that wave I'm waiting for, because Yellow has been a leader in e-commerce in Bangladesh, and we've been investing in it for about 5 years now, and it's still a little bit small compared to our overall revenue. So I'm waiting for e-commerce to come, and when it comes, it'll be a huge thing. Hasn't quite happened yet. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen.
Absolutely. You want to add anything?
No, absolutely. He's the retail person, so it will change because people's buying of habit is changing, taste is changing, youngs are coming up, generations are changing. So we can see that change rapidly.
Every day you see it.
Rapidly. So of course there is no way that it will stop or it will stop.
It's accelerate every day, and what's happening is Bangladesh is becoming much more integrated globally. So like it used to be that the trend in New York would take a year here, but now it takes like 5 hours to come.
Yes, right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So just to add, and I mean, I don't see any reason not to happen. Where Bangladesh is, tailoring world's best fashions, right? They are in the world. They are flying in the world. Why Bangladesh cannot build its own retail industry? So where Bangladesh is catering world to this fashion industry.
Absolutely, it's already happening and will continue to happen.
Yeah,
right. It is only possible if you guys are coming and joining us. The brilliant and the minds, the best of the best, right? You need to be into this industry, and then create another best thing, right? And that's what we are waiting for. And that's the reason actually Bangladesh Finance presents Next Gen Leaders Job Readiness Program. We want to give you the right information. We want to help you to choose the right career. You have to decide yourself based on a passion, based on a skill, and based on the opportunity as well, where there are many people is not actually wise to go and jump into there, but where there is less, right? And it's better actually to be there. And sometimes it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody's there, right?
true.
So that's the opportunity that I believe, it's like I follow this kind of when people are running. Because why they're running? Because when people are not running, everybody's waiting. That's the time actually to start walking and then running. Your last comment, on this, because in the pandemic time we have observed, right, the organizations, the people are now moving faster and forward. Your last comments about it, and then we can close it. That means invest on yourself, right, or something.
Yeah. So my last thing is that please know yourself, right? Fix your aspiration, what really you want to do in your life, and then it doesn't matter always you need to be an employee. Think about the other side of the coin. You can be employer as well.
Yes.
You can be an entrepreneur. So think both way, whatever the way, either locally or internationally, be ready first. So you need to know your path clearly. It has to be very crystal clear. It cannot be hazy in any point of time. So you need to know where you are going, and then you can lay your strategy. You can lay your development plan, how you will go, which way you will go, which path you will choose, and then you can reach there slowly, one after another. Don't try to eat everything together.
Correct.
Right? You cannot eat everything together.
Correct.
You do one bite at a time, and then once you whole thing has finished.
Correct.
So that's what my turn. Thank you.
Your last comment, please.
Yeah, I would just say to the audience that, right now, if you ask me, you guys are very lucky people. Countries in the world right now where it doesn't matter how talented or how hardworking you are, the country doesn't have opportunities. There's no growth. There's no for growth for young people, because those countries just aren't doing well. But Bangladesh is a place, if you're born here, you're very lucky right now, if for the right person. Now, again, like was mentioned, you're only going to have that success if you take a few basics to know what you're doing. You have to put in the time and effort to work hard. That's very important. And to learn whatever option you choose, work hard in that option. Use the resources and work with the mentors and ask people and be proactive and try to learn. All right, because once you learn and once you separate yourself from the other people, just by having more knowledge and having a little bit more extra ability, then the future in this country is very bright, and you can go a long way. So you're very lucky. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming here and sharing your valuable knowledge and information. And we are definitely going towards a good time and good time ahead of us for Bangladesh, for this industry. And for that reason, we want to welcome you to this industry. And finally, we want to wait for you 9th December at United, because there is a job fair. There are job opportunities. A lot of organizations are waiting to give you a job. Come and join with us, and you can have bag full of gifts. T-shirt sponsored by our sponsors, SCCA and BIS Solutions. Gift coupon from YOLO. Of course, our strategic partners, Citigroup, they're having full of bags, right? And then, of course, Nestle, Bangladesh Finance, and others. Everyone want to give you some gifts. So bag full of gifts. Come empty hand, and you'll be bag full of gifts. Stay and join us. And lastly, my last information is we are introducing an award for youths. If you have contributed something, যেটার জন্য you can claim the award and recognition, and please register for it. There is a male category, there is a female category. And the third is যদি আপনার থাকে যেটার মাধ্যমে আপনি সোশ্যাল কোনো প্রবলেম সলভ করছেন এবং আগামীতে করার চিন্তা করছেন, come and share with us. We want to help you, we want to inspire you by giving recognition on 9th December at United International University. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for taking part, and our future is bright. Come and thank you and have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.
এখন প্রতিটা দিন শুরু হয় নতুন চ্যালেঞ্জের সাথে। অনেক দূরের কেউ খুব কাছে আসে হঠাৎ প্রয়োজনে, হাত বাড়িয়ে দেয় সব দরকারে। একটু উৎসাহে পার করা যায় সব বাধা, আর সময়ে অসময়ে আনন্দের খোরাক হয় ভালোবাসা। কঠিনের সময়ে আধুনিক প্রোডাকশন ফ্যাসিলিটি, আন্তর্জাতিক মান এবং সঠিক পুষ্টিমানের নিশ্চয়তা নিয়ে আপনার পরিবারের পাশে আস্থা নিয়ে আছে নেসলে বাংলাদেশ। ভালো রাখতে আছি সাথে।
Nestle, good food, good life.
Future, retire, tension. আমার নেই পেনশনের টেনশন, আছে সুখ স্বাচ্ছন্দ্যে, অবসরকালীন নিশ্চিন্ত নির্ভর জীবনের নিশ্চয়তা।
অবসরকালীন নিশ্চিন্ত, নির্ভর এবং আনন্দময় জীবনের জন্য বাংলাদেশ ফাইন্যান্স নিয়ে এলো বাংলাদেশ ফাইন্যান্স রিটায়ারমেন্ট প্ল্যান। মাত্র 10 বছরের সঞ্চয়ই নিশ্চিত হবে ইন্স্যুরেন্স সুবিধা সহ আজীবন পেনশন।
এই যে গেল সুপারম্যান আর ব্যাটম্যান। আরেক হলো লুমেন। উজ্জ্বল আলোর পরিমাপক। সঠিক লুমেন চোখের জন্য ভালো, কিন্তু কম বা বেশি লুমেন জাস্ট চোখের শত্রু। বড়রা বলে কিছু কিনলে ভালোভাবে চেক করে নিবা, আর যখন নিজেরা লাইট কিনে তখন কি কেউ লুমেনটা ভালোভাবে চেক করে? সঠিক লুমেনের আলোর জন্য সুপারস্টার লাইট। নো মাথা ব্যথা, নো চোখের যন্ত্রণা।
কিরে, আজকে ভালো হয়নি? এই কিছু খাবি?
না মা।
এই রিফাত, তোর জন্য ম্যাগি বানিয়েছি। আমার কাছে তুই তো সবসময় চ্যাম্পিয়ন। খুশি করা সে তো 2 মিনিটের ব্যাপার। ম্যাগি খুশির রেসিপি। নেসলে, গুড ফুড, গুড লাইফ।